Alright, in this video I'm going to cover the partial restoration of this Aladdin Blueflame Model 37 heater. I say partial because we're really going to focus on two things. One of them is going to be getting this off, which we did, but I'll show you in the video how we actually did that. And that is that brass vent. And then the second part is going to be removing and installing the wick, which proved to be quite a challenge actually. So to get this started, we wanted to remove that brass vent, and what we did was we used flame, heat, map gas, and Freol, which is a penetrating oil, and we did a couple of applications. I missed filming the first few shots of this, but basically here's what it looked like and how we got it off. Alright, I'm not even going to try. I'm going to give it another round just because. We want to hit it around the edges, obviously, because that's where it's threaded in. But you also want to hit it up here because this whole thing revolves around that wick. And so if there's anything sticking in there... Now I'm about out of this. I got a fresh can, though. Well, we'll come back in 10-15 minutes and give it a shot, see what happens. Alright, let's see if this is going to come off now. Hopefully it'll be nice and loose. There it goes. Alright, so that's off. Now, this is obviously going to need to be cleaned up. Probably with some steel wool. So the Model 37, the way to get these in and out, you have to mount it to this metal sleeve, and then the whole thing slides in there. This should go up and down, however it is very, very stuck, and it's just not going to move, so we're going to have to apply the same treatment to it. Now, one of the things I can do is, if you look down here, there's a tunnel. The way the Aladdins work is they form a chimney, and the heat pulls air up into it and gives it a nice clean burn. On the same token, though, there's plenty of places for this wick to get stuck, and that's where we're at right now. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll throw some heat on the bottom, or in the inside, and then on the outside, and hit it with the spray foam. Actually, yeah, not hit it with spray foam, hit it with penetrating fluid. So now everything's nice and hot. I'm going to spray it in all the areas that could potentially be sticking points. Let it soak, come back and see if we can wrestle that wick out of there. Alright, so I've actually done a few things since we poured all that diesel in there. One of them was I took this thin shim. I've got this shim material basically to straighten out and level things with. It's different sizes, but what I've done is I've gone around the whole thing and wedged it in there as best I can, actually. Like so. And kind of worked it all the way around. So I did that, tried to loosen it up. It still wouldn't come loose. The next thing I did was I took these little clips. Let me see if I can zoom in on that, and popped them out of the hole in there. Of course, I tore some of these off, and after that I started pulling it up, and I think I still have to do a little bit more work to get that to come out. It's stuck on this thing right here. And folks over in the UK would probably have a fit if they saw me doing this, but you know, oh well. That's the only way I can get it out. Do the other side. Alright, so those metal clips are out, both sides. There should be nothing hindering getting that thing out of there, you would think. Oh, at least this has come off. Now if we can get the wick out. I imagine it might be easier, but I don't know. I can only imagine it's frayed at the bottom. So, I don't know, this is a little bit of a bear. Quite puzzling as well, but... And there it goes. Wow, that was quite the challenge. But so next step is going to be getting a new wick in here. It's going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure. I'm going to drain this, vacuum this out. There's a lot of crud in here, and start cleaning everything. Probably see if I can polish this a little bit. Well, not really polish it, but clean it up. And yep, those would be the next steps. So we finally got that wick off, and the next step was going to be installing the new wick. That proved to be a challenge. If you notice, the font now is no longer black. It's been painted, and what we did was removed all the old paint that came with it. We had no idea what they had painted it with, and I wanted to stop any corrosion, so I painted it with a rust inhibitor paint, and then a final coat of I guess they call it faded jade, I think is the color. Alright, so I'm going to start by placing this over the chimney, I guess you could call it, and making sure that these are above. I'm also making sure that the split is over the gear. I'm not sure if that's really critical or not, but I think it will help. Then I'm going to place this over. And let's get these lined up. So you can see what I'm doing. These are actually over the tube so that we can squeeze them in and put them in place. I'll show you why in a minute. So I'm bringing this up while holding this down, and that should keep everything lined up pretty nicely. Alright, so let's get this clip in. Get this clip in here. Okay, and on the other side in there. That black line serves as a guide. There's a black line and a red line. I think right in between is where the clip is. Now that still leaves part of the wick kind of exposed, and what I'm going to do is use this piece of sheet metal, try to push it in, but we'll see how this goes. Unfortunately, I've not been able to get a knob or fabricate something that works. The liner's getting caught on the inside. Here's what that looks like. Right around here, you see the liner. I think once we get it past that liner, it should be home free. Yep. So one of the issues I ran into was getting this to lift it and drop it, more on the lifting it side, and I still don't have a knob for this, unfortunately. I'll try to see what I can make up. So there's a couple of solutions. I talked to a gentleman that collected these things in the past, and he said he had run into the same thing. So one of his suggestions was to shim it. So I've got two shims here. The other thing I did was with a screwdriver and a brace, I went into these individually and lifted them out. You can pretty much see if I can show you what I did. Basically backed it up like so, and I went down to the first 6 of them and just opened it up a little bit, and that's helped tremendously between the shims and that, so we can actually adjust it. That actually looks pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to put the cage on it. We'll put the flame spreader on it. Fill it up and see how it does. We'll tighten these up in a minute. Let's get the window facing there. Put the vice grip handle on here. Open it up. Give it a light. Of course, got to make sure the snuffer is in the up position. Let me give it a little bit more. Oh, we got a blue flame for the most part. I think what's going to happen, we're going to let that wick burn a little bit. I'm going to use a wick trimmer. I have it on order. I should have it shortly. Once we get some burn on it, then we'll trim it. It'll be even all the way around. I think we'll get a much nicer blue flame out of it. But for right now, too low, too high, go for the blue. Right there, I think. Nice and clean. So there we go. I think we're done. Alright, so we got the wick installed, and of course nothing's complete till you test it out, so we went ahead and did that. We lit it, and as you can see, the flame is not quite blue. This is probably because it's burning diesel. I think it's drafting correctly. And we don't intend to burn this inside the house. The initial intent is to put this in a greenhouse during the really, really cold parts of winter. So I think that'll be fine. I'm actually pretty pleased with the way it's turned out. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it has, hit share and like, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.